Lily was the smallest bear cub in her clan, and everyone knew it. She wasn't just small for her age, she was downright tiny compared to her siblings and cousins who roared louder, ran faster, and could already climb the tallest trees on their home planet without breaking a sweat. But Lily had something they didn't: curiosity. While others wrestled or practiced hunting drills, she would sneak off to explore hidden corners of the deep space habitat where her clan now lived. The habitat orbited 186F, a distant exoplanet that glowed faintly red in the night sky outside the station's reinforced windows. It was an odd place for bears, but the colony had been relocated here after their home world became too dangerous. The humans who built the habitat called it Station Horizon, though the bears simply referred to it as the Big Metal Cave. To Lily, every corridor felt like a new adventure waiting to happen. Every vent cover looked like a secret door leading somewhere mysterious. That day, while most of the clan gathered in the mess hall for lunch, Lily decided to investigate one of those vents. She'd always wondered what lay behind them. Her older brother Jake teased her about being scared of tight spaces, which only made her more determined to prove him wrong. Clutching a small flashlight between her teeth, she climbed onto a chair near the wall and opened the vent cover with surprising strength for someone so little. The air inside smelled metallic and cool. With a quick glance over her shoulder to make sure no one was watching, Lily crawled into the ductwork. At first, it was easy going. The shafts were wide enough for her to move comfortably, and the sound of rushing air reminded her of the wind tunnels back home. She giggled softly to herself as she shone her flashlight ahead, imagining all sorts of treasures hidden within the walls. But then disaster struck. About 20 feet in, the floor of the vent gave way beneath her weight. A loose panel collapsed, sending her tumbling down into a narrower maintenance duct far below. For a moment she lay stunned, her heart pounding against her ribs. When she tried to stand, she realized she was stuck. The space was too tight for her to turn around, and when she pushed forward, her shoulders scraped painfully against the metal walls. Panic bubbled up in her chest as she wiggled frantically, trying to free herself. "Help," she called out, her voice echoing hollowly. No one answered. The comms badge clipped to her vest buzzed weakly before falling silent. It must have shorted out during the fall. Alone and trapped, Lily felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. She hated crying. It made her feel even smaller than she already was. Taking a shaky breath, she forced herself to calm down. Crying wouldn't get her out of this mess. As she listened intently for any sign of rescue, she heard something unexpected, a low, rumbling growl coming from somewhere above her. It wasn't loud, but it was unmistakable, frustrated, angry, and definitely not bear-like. Her ears twitched as she strained to pinpoint the source of the noise. Was there another animal aboard the station? Bears weren't the only creatures humans had brought along to populate Station Horizon, but none of the other species were supposed to be roaming freely through the walls. "Hello," she whispered hesitantly, her voice trembling despite her best efforts to sound brave. The growling stopped abruptly, replaced by a soft scraping sound as if something, or someone, was moving closer. Lily froze, her flashlight beam shaking slightly as she aimed it upward. A pair of glowing green eyes appeared in the darkness, reflecting the light back at her. They blinked once, then narrowed suspiciously. Whatever it wasn't friendly, but it also didn't seem ready to attack. Slowly, a sleek shape emerged from the shadows. A lynx. Its fur was mottled gray and black, perfect for blending into the dim recesses of the ductwork. Sharp claws clicked against the metal as it crouched low, studying her with intense focus. Lily swallowed hard. Lynxes weren't exactly enemies of the bear clan, but they weren't allies either. Most of them kept to themselves, living in remote parts of the station and avoiding contact with anyone outside their own kind. This one looked wild, untamed, and very much out of place in the confined space. Still, she couldn't help noticing how young it seemed. Maybe not much older than she was. "You're stuck," the lynx said finally, its voice low and gravelly. Lily blinked in surprise. She hadn't expected it to speak, not in words anyway. Humans often underestimated animals' intelligence, but even among her own clan, few spoke human languages fluently. Clearly, this lynx was different. Yeah, she admitted, forcing a nervous smile. I fell, can you help me? The lynx tilted its head, considering her request. Then it let out a frustrated huff. Why should I? You're a bear. And you're a lynx, Lily shot back, surprising herself with her boldness. Doesn't mean we can't work together. For a long moment, neither of them moved. Finally, the lynx sighed, an oddly human gesture, and shifted closer. Fine, but don't think this makes us friends. Despite her predicament, Lily couldn't help smiling again. Friends or not, she had a feeling this unlikely encounter might just be the start of something extraordinary. This completes part 1 of your story, written in third-person style with simple English. Let me know if you'd like me to continue with the next part. The lynx crouched low in the narrow duct, his green eyes glowing faintly as he studied Lily. He didn't look happy about being there, but then again, neither did she. Trapped in a vent with an animal from a rival species wasn't exactly how Lily had imagined spending her afternoon. Still, she tried to stay calm and focus on the situation. I'm Lily, she said after a moment of awkward silence. Her voice echoed slightly in the tight space. What's your name? The lynx blinked at her, clearly surprised that she'd asked. After a pause, he muttered, Leo. Well, Leo, Lily continued, trying to sound cheerful despite the lump of fear in her throat, it looks like we're stuck together for now. Any ideas on how to get out of here? Leo's ears twitched and he let out a low growl. I don't help bears, he said flatly. We don't owe you anything. Lily frowned. You don't have to help me because I'm a bear. You should help me because it's the right thing to do. Besides, if I stay here much longer, I'll run out of air, and so will you. Leo hesitated. He glanced around the cramped ductwork, his sharp claws clicking softly against the metal floor. For all his gruffness, Lily could tell he was thinking hard. Finally, he sighed again and leaned closer. Fine, he said reluctantly, but don't expect me to be nice about it. With that, Leo began inspecting the area around them. His movements were quick and precise, far more agile than Lily's clumsy attempts to free herself earlier. She watched him carefully, noting how easily he navigated the tight space. Clearly, he'd spent a lot of time in places like this, far more than any ordinary lynx should have. So, why are you in the vents? Lily asked cautiously, hopping to break the tension. Talking might distract her from the growing panic she felt every time she thought about how trapped she was. Leo shot her a wary glance over his shoulder. None of your business, he snapped. Lily held up her paws defensively, or as much as she could while wedged in place. Just curious, she said quickly. You seem like you know what you're doing. I've never seen anyone move like that before. For a moment, Leo looked almost proud of himself, but then his expression hardened again and he turned away. I've been living here for days, he admitted grudgingly. Hiding, surviving. Lily tilted her head, confused. Why would you need to hide? Is something wrong? Leo hesitated, his tail flicking nervously behind him. There's trouble on the station, he said after a long pause. Big trouble. My clan, they sent me here to stop it, but things went wrong and now I'm stuck. What kind of trouble? Lily pressed gently. She didn't want to push too hard, but her curiosity was getting the better of her. Plus, if whatever Leo was dealing with affected the whole station, it might explain why she'd fallen into the vent in the first place. Leo's jaw tightened. Sabotage, he said finally. Someone's messing with the systems. Life support, power grids, it's all falling apart. And it's not just accidents, someone's doing it on purpose. Lily's heart sank. Sabotage sounded serious, far worse than a loose vent panel or even being trapped in one. If someone was deliberately damaging the station, then everyone aboard was in danger, including her family. We have to tell someone, she said urgently. My clan, they can fix this. They'll know what to do. Leo shook his head sharply. No one listens to me, he growled. They think I'm part of the problem. If I show my face, they'll throw me out, or worse. Lily bit her lip, thinking. She understood why Leo didn't trust the bears, but they couldn't just sit there and do nothing. If what he said was true, then time was running out for everyone on Station Horizon. Okay, she said slowly. Here's the deal. You help me get out of this vent and I'll make sure my clan hears you out. They'll believe me, I promise. Leo narrowed his eyes suspiciously. And why would they listen to you? Because I'm their cub, Lily replied firmly. And because I won't let them ignore the truth. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The only sounds were the distant hum of machinery and the faint rustle of air moving through the vents. Then, with a reluctant sigh, Leo nodded. All right, he said. Let's get you out of here, but don't think this makes us friends. Lily grinned despite herself. Deal. With that, Leo got to work. Using his claws, he carefully at the edges of the collapsed panel that had trapped Lily. It took several minutes of effort, but eventually, he managed to widen the gap enough for her to wriggle free. As soon as she was able to move again, she stretched her sore limbs and took a deep breath of relief. Thanks, she said sincerely. I owe you one. Leo shrugged, though there was a hint of satisfaction in his posture. Don't mention it. Now, how do we get out of here? Lily looked around, orienting herself. The vent system was a maze, but she knew the layout of the station well enough to find her way back to the main corridors. She pointed toward a junction ahead. That way leads to the maintenance access hatch near the hydroponics bay. We can sneak out from there without anyone seeing us. Leo raised an eyebrow. Sneak? Why can't we just walk out? Because you're a lynx, Lily reminded him. People might freak out if they see you wandering around freely. Trust me, it's safer this way. Leo snorted but didn't argue. Together, they crawled through the ducts, navigating twists and turns until they reached the hatch Lily had described. With a final push, she popped it open and climbed out into the dimly lit corridor beyond. Leo followed close behind, keeping low to avoid drawing attention. Once outside, Lily led the way toward the central hub of the station. Along the way, she noticed subtle signs of damage, flickering lights, strange noises coming from behind sealed doors, and patches of frost forming on the walls where coolant lines had likely ruptured. Whatever was happening, it was spreading fast. This is bad, Leo murmured, echoing her thoughts. If we don't stop it soon, the whole station could fail. We will, Lily said firmly. Despite her small size and limited experience, she refused to give up hope. Together, she and Leo might just stand a chance of saving everyone, including each other. This completes part 2 of your story, written in third-person style with simple English. Let me know if you'd like me to continue with the next part. The corridors of Station Horizon were eerily quiet as Lily and Leo made their way toward the central hub. Most of the clan's adults were either working in the engineering bay or resting after meals, so the pair encountered few others along the route. Still, they moved cautiously, sticking to shadows and ducking into alcoves whenever someone passed by. Leo kept his body low, his green eyes darting nervously at every sound, while Lily tried her best to act natural despite the tension coiled tight in her chest. They reached the hydroponics bay without incident. Rows of glowing plants stretched out before them, their leaves swaying gently under artificial sunlight. The air smelled fresh here, rich with moisture and life, a stark contrast to the stale metallic scent of the vents. Lily paused for a moment, breathing deeply. It was one of her favorite places on the station, though she rarely visited it anymore since her lessons had grown more demanding. This is where we start, she whispered, turning to Leo. If there's sabotage happening, this is probably ground zero. Hydroponics keeps the oxygen levels stable. If something goes wrong here. Leo nodded grimly. We'd suffocate. Lily shivered but forced herself to focus. She pointed toward a control panel near the far wall. That terminal monitors all the systems. If anyone tampered with them, there'll be traces, logs, error messages, something. Leo hesitated. And if we find proof, what then? Then we take it to my clan, Lily said firmly. They'll know what to do. Leo didn't look convinced, but he followed her anyway. Together, they approached the terminal, weaving between the rows of lush greenery. When they reached it, Lily tapped the screen experimentally. To her relief, it lit up immediately, displaying a dizzying array of data streams and diagnostic reports. She frowned at the unfamiliar symbols scrolling across the display. I don't understand half of this, she admitted. Do you? Leo stepped closer, his sharp eyes scanning the information. After a moment, he nodded. Some of it. My clan taught me how to read human tech. It's useful for staying hidden. He tapped a few commands, pulling up logs from the past week. His ears flattened against his skull as he scrolled through the entries. Look at this, he said quietly, pointing to a series of anomalies marked in red. Lily leaned in, squinting at the text. What does it mean? It means someone been messing with the nutrient pumps, Leo explained. These spikes in pressure, they're not random. Someone adjusted the flow rates manually. If they keep doing it, the entire system could collapse. A cold knot formed in Lily's stomach. Why would anyone do that? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Leo's tail flicked irritably. To create chaos, make people panic, maybe even drive your clan off the station entirely. But who would want that? Lily pressed. We haven't done anything to anyone. Leo didn't answer right away. Instead, he pulled up another set of logs, this time from the security cameras. Grainy footage played on the screen, showing shadowy figures moving through restricted areas late at night. One of them stood out, a tall figure with piercing yellow eyes and a scar running down its face. Even in the dim light, there was no mistaking it. A lynx. That's him, Leo growled, his voice low and dangerous. The warlord who exiled my family. He must have sent saboteurs ahead of his fleet to soften up the station. Lily stared at the screen, her heart pounding. A rogue lynx warlord. This was worse than she'd imagined. If he's coming here, we need to warn everyone, she said urgently. My clan can prepare defenses, evacuate civilians. No, Leo interrupted sharply. If you tell them about him, they'll assume I'm part of his plan. They won't listen to me. But you're helping us, Lily protested. You saved me in the vent, you found the evidence. Why wouldn't they believe you? Leo sighed, his shoulders slumping slightly. Because I'm a lynx, he said bitterly. To your clan, I'm already guilty by association. Lily opened her mouth to argue, but the words caught in her throat. Deep down, she knew he was right. Trust between species was fragile aboard Station Horizon, especially when tensions ran high. Convincing her clan to accept Leo's help and his warning wouldn't be easy. We'll figure it out, she said finally. But first, we need to secure the hydroponics bay. If the saboteurs come back, we can stop them before they cause more damage. Leo raised an eyebrow. And how exactly do you plan to do that? Lily grinned mischievously. By setting a trap. Over the next hour, the unlikely duo worked together to fortify the hydroponics bay. Using tools scavenged from a nearby maintenance closet, they rigged alarms to alert them if anyone entered the area. Leo used his knowledge of stealth tactics to position tripwires and motion sensors strategically, while Lily programmed the terminal to lock down automatically in case of unauthorized access. By the time they finished, the room was practically impenetrable. As they waited for the saboteurs to arrive, Lily couldn't help glancing at Leo. Despite his rough exterior and constant grumbling, he was surprisingly clever and brave. She realized she never met anyone quite like him before, not even among her own clan. You know, she said softly, breaking the silence, you're not so bad for a lynx. Leo snorted but didn't look up from the terminal. Don't get used to it. Before Lily could respond, the alarm beeped sharply. Someone was approaching. Both of them froze, their hearts racing as footsteps echoed in the corridor outside. Slowly, the door slid open, revealing two figures slipping inside, one a lynx, the other a fox. They carried toolkits and wore dark hoods that obscured their faces. Leo tensed, his claws extending instinctively. Lily grabbed a wrench from the floor, holding it tightly in both paws. Neither of them moved, waiting for the intruders to step deeper into the room. When the saboteurs reached the central console, Leo sprang into action. With a fierce roar, he lunged at the nearest figure, knocking them to the ground. The second saboteur turned in surprise, only to find Lily blocking their path. Brandishing the wrench like a weapon, she swung it with surprising force, catching the fox squarely in the jaw. The fight was short but intense. Outnumbered but determined, Lily and Leo fought side by side, their movements synchronized as if they'd trained together for years. Within minutes, both saboteurs lay unconscious on the floor. Breathing heavily, Lily looked at Leo, who was standing over one of the fallen figures with a triumphant gleam in his eye. "We did it," she said, smiling despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. "For now," Leo replied, his tone serious. "But this isn't over, not yet." Lily nodded. She knew he was right. Stopping these two saboteurs was just the beginning. If the warlord's fleet was really on its way, they needed to act fast and convince her clan to trust Leo before it was too late. This completes part 3 of your story, written in third-person style with simple English. Let me know if you'd like me to continue with the next part. After securing the two saboteurs with zip ties scavenged from the maintenance closet, Lily and Leo stood side by side, catching their breath. The hydroponics bay was a mess, tools scattered across the floor, plants trampled underfoot, and one of the nutrient tanks leaking fluid onto the metal grating. Despite the chaos, they had won. For now. "We need to get these two to my clan," Lily said, wiping sweat from her brow with the back of her paw. "They'll know what to do." Leo frowned, his ears twitching nervously. "And how are we supposed to explain this?" "Oh, don't worry about me. I'm just a lynx who happened to be helping your cub stop an invasion. They're not going to believe that." Lily crossed her arms stubbornly. "They will if I tell them. I'm part of the clan, they trust me." "They might trust you," Leo countered, his voice tight with frustration. "But they won't trust me, not without proof." "Well, we have proof," Lily shot back, gesturing toward the unconscious saboteurs. "These two were caught red-pawed trying to destroy the hydroponics system. That's enough to start asking questions." Leo hesitated, his sharp green eyes narrowing as he considered her words. Finally, he sighed and nodded reluctantly. "Fine, but if things go south, I'm out of here." "Deal," Lily said firmly. With that, they dragged the saboteurs into a storage closet and locked the door behind them. Then, working together, they cleaned up the worst of the damage in the hydroponics bay. It wasn't perfect, but it would hold until someone could come fix it properly. Once everything was as tidy as they could make it, they set off toward the central command deck. The journey there felt longer than usual. Every step seemed heavier, weighed down by the knowledge of what they were about to reveal. As they walked, Lily rehearsed what she would say to her clan leaders. She needed to be clear, concise, and convincing. If she stumbled over her words, they might dismiss her story entirely. Beside her, Leo stayed silent, his jaw clenched and his tail flicking anxiously. When they finally reached the command deck, the doors slid open to reveal a bustling hub of activity. Engineers hunched over glowing terminals, technicians adjusted settings on massive control panels, and clan elders conferred quietly near the center of the room. The air buzzed with tension. Even without knowing about the sabotage, everyone could feel that something was wrong. Lily spotted her mother, standing near the main console, was one of the clan's senior advisors, known for her calm demeanor and sharp mind. If anyone could help them make sense of the situation, it was her. "Mom," Lily called out, hurrying toward her. Turned, surprise flickering across her face when she saw Leo trailing behind her daughter. "Lily, what's going on?" asked, her tone firm but concerned. "Who is this?" "This is Leo," Lily said quickly, glancing at the lynx. "He helped me catch two saboteurs in the hydroponics bay. Mom, someone been messing with the station systems, and it's not an accident." His expression darkened. "Saboteurs, are you sure?" "Yes," Lily insisted. "We found logs showing tampered data, and those two tried to disable the nutrient pumps. If we hadn't stopped them, the whole system could have failed." Before could respond, another elder stepped forward. His name was Carter, and he was known for being skeptical of outsiders. He eyed Leo suspiciously. "A link's helping us. Why should we believe him?" Leo bristled visibly, his fur rising slightly along his spine. "Because I want to stop the same threat you do," he growled. "The warlord who exiled my family is coming here. He sent those saboteurs to weaken your defenses so his fleet can take over the station." Carter snorted derisively. "Convenient story. How do we know you're not lying?" Lily stepped between them, her small frame suddenly bold. "Because I was there. I saw the logs and I fought alongside Leo. He saved me when I got stuck in the vents. If he wanted to hurt us, he could have left me there." The room fell silent as everyone processed her words, placed a gentle paw on Lily's shoulder. "If what you're saying is true, then we need all the information you have. Show us the evidence." Relieved, Lily nodded and led the group back to the hydroponics bay. Along the way, she explained everything she and Leo had discovered: the tampered logs, the security footage of the Lynx warlord, and the traps they'd set to catch the saboteurs. By the time they reached the bay, several clan members were beginning to take their claims seriously. In the storage closet, the two captured saboteurs stirred groggily as they were brought out. One of them, a lynx with cold, calculating eyes, spat angrily at Leo. "Traitor," he hissed. "You've doomed us all." Leo bared his teeth in response. "I'm no traitor. You are. Working for that monster doesn't make you loyal, it makes you cowards." The saboteur sneered but didn't deny the accusation. When pressed further by and the other elders, he eventually confessed. Yes, they had been sent by the warlord to destabilize the station. Yes, a fleet was en route. And yes, the goal was to drive out the Bear clan and claim Station Horizon for themselves. The confession sent shockwaves through the command deck. Clan leaders scrambled to prepare defenses, reroute power to critical systems, and alert the rest of the station. Meanwhile, Lily and Leo remained close, their bond growing stronger with each passing moment. Though many still eyed Leo with suspicion, his actions spoke louder than words, earning him a tentative place among the bears. As the hours ticked by, preparations intensified. Reinforcements were called in, emergency protocols activated, and every available fighter for battle. But despite the flurry of activity, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. The saboteurs had been caught, the warlord's plan exposed, but where was the fleet? Why hadn't it arrived yet? It wasn't until late that night, while reviewing surveillance footage with Leo, that they found the answer. Hidden deep within the station's infrastructure was a secondary relay chamber, a secret node designed to override all external communications. Someone had used it to block incoming transmissions, delaying the warlord's arrival long enough for the bears to fortify their defenses. "The warlord must have planned this as a distraction," Leo muttered, his claws clicking against the terminal. "While we focus on defending the station, he's waiting for the perfect moment to strike." Lily frowned, her heart sinking. "Then we need to shut down that relay before it's too late." Leo nodded grimly. "And the only way to reach it is through the outer thermal exhaust. It's narrow, hot, and dangerous, but it's our only chance." Without hesitation, Lily squared her shoulders. "Then let's go." This completes part 4 of your story, written in third-person style with simple English. Let me know if you'd like me to continue with the final part. The outer thermal exhaust duct was not a place anyone wanted to go. It was narrow, scorching hot, and filled with the deafening roar of superheated air rushing through its walls. Even experienced engineers avoided it unless absolutely necessary. But for Lily and Leo, there was no other choice. If they didn't shut down the hidden relay chamber, the warlord's fleet would arrive unopposed, and Station Horizon would fall. Before setting out, they gathered what little equipment they could carry: heat-resistant gloves, a small toolkit, and a portable cooling unit scavenged from the engineering bay. Had tried to talk them out of it, insisting that trained adults should handle such a dangerous mission. But Lily refused to back down. "I started this," she said firmly, "and I'm finishing it." Leo stood beside her, his expression unreadable but resolute. "She's right," he added. "We know the layout better than anyone else. Let us do this." After a long pause, finally relented, though her eyes were heavy with worry. "Be careful," she said softly, pulling Lily into a tight hug. Then, turning to Leo, she added, "And thank you for everything." With their gear packed and their hearts pounding, Lily and Leo made their way to the access hatch leading into the thermal exhaust. The entrance was marked with bright red warning signs, and even before opening the door, waves of heat radiated outward, making the air shimmer like water. Taking a deep breath, Lily pushed the hatch open and stepped inside, followed closely by Leo. The temperature hit them immediately, stealing their breath and forcing beads of sweat to form on their fur. The duct itself was barely wide enough for one of them to crawl through at a time, let alone two. Every movement felt like an effort as the oppressive heat pressed against their bodies. "You okay?" Lily asked over her shoulder, her voice strained. Leo nodded, though his jaw was clenched tight. "Just keep moving." They crawled forward slowly, inch by agonizing inch. The metal walls burned even through their gloves, and the noise of rushing air made communication nearly impossible. At times, Lily wondered if they'd ever reach the relay chamber, or if they'd collapse from exhaustion before then. But every time doubt crept in, she remembered why they were doing this: for her clan, for Leo's family, for everyone aboard Station Horizon. Finally, after what felt like hours, they reached the relay chamber. A heavy blast door blocked their path, its surface glowing faintly from the heat beyond. Using the toolkit, Leo worked quickly to disable the locking mechanism while Lily kept watch, shining her flashlight into the shadows. When the door hissed open, cool air spilled out, offering a brief reprieve from the relentless heat. Inside, the relay chamber was a maze of wires, circuits, and blinking lights. In the center stood a massive control panel, humming softly with power. This was the source of the interference, the node that had been blocking all incoming transmissions. "This is it," Leo said, stepping up to the console. "If we shut this down, the warlord's fleet will detect our signal, and so will any allies nearby." Lily nodded, her heart racing. "Do it." Working together, they began dismantling the system. Leo handled the delicate wiring, his claws surprisingly nimble despite their size, while Lily monitored the display screens, ensuring nothing went wrong. As they worked, the tension in the room grew palpable. Every second counted, every mistake could mean disaster. Suddenly, the ground beneath them trembled violently. Alarms blared throughout the station, echoing through the ductwork. From somewhere far away, they heard the unmistakable sound of engines roaring, ships arriving in orbit. "They're here," Lily gasped, panic rising in her chest. "Not yet," Leo snapped, his focus unwavering. "We're almost done." With a final twist of the wrench, the relay powered down. The hum faded, replaced by silence. For a moment, neither of them moved, holding their breath as they waited for confirmation. Then a new message appeared on the screen: "Signal reestablished. Fleet detected." "We did it," Lily whispered, tears of relief welling in her eyes. But their victory was short-lived. The tremors grew stronger, shaking the entire chamber. Dust rained down from the ceiling as sections of the ductwork began to collapse around them. They had only moments to escape before the whole structure gave way. "Go," Leo shouted, shoving Lily toward the exit. She hesitated, looking back at him. "I'm not leaving without you." "There's no time to argue," he growled, pushing her again. "Run." Reluctantly, Lily obeyed, scrambling through the duct as fast as her tired limbs would allow. Behind her, she heard Leo following close behind, his movements slower but determined. Just as they reached the access hatch, the walls of the thermal exhaust collapsed entirely, sealing off the relay chamber forever. Gasping for air, they tumbled out into the safety of the corridor beyond. Moments later, reinforcements arrived, a mix of bear warriors and lynx exiles loyal to Leo's bloodline. Together, they mobilized to defend the station, combining their strengths to repel the warlord's forces. In the end, the battle was fierce but decisive. With the sabotage exposed and communications restored, the bears and lynxes fought side by side, driving the invaders back into space. The warlord was captured during the retreat, his plans shattered. When the dust settled, Station Horizon was safe once more. The Bear Clan celebrated their victory, honoring those who had risked everything to protect their home. And at the center of it all stood Lily and Leo, two unlikely heroes who had forged a bond stronger than any rivalry. Though many still eyed Leo with suspicion, no one could deny his bravery or his role in saving the station. Over time, he earned a place among the bears, not as an outsider, but as a friend. As for Lily, she proved to everyone that size didn't matter when it came to courage. She might have been the smallest cub on the station, but she had roared louder than any of them. And in the quiet moments afterward, as the stars twinkled outside the reinforced windows, Lily smiled to herself. She knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, she wouldn't face them alone. Not anymore. This completes part 5 of your story, written in third-person style with simple English. Let me know if you need anything else.